Alright, everybody, welcome back to PokeMaineEvent here. And today, for you all the new people, shout out to all the new subscribers, we're going to be going over Victory Road to Honolulu Tour. So we don't only do the battle videos on the channel, we also do cover some tournament results, especially big tournaments like this one. So today we're going to be covering the Victory Road to Honolulu, which is a tour that the Victory Road does just about every year now, I want to say. Before World, they had Road to Yokohama last year and Road to Honolulu this year, before the World Championships. Big prizing tour. Players from all over the world tend to participate, so you get a really nice picture of what's going to happen going into the World Championships. Question of the day: which powerful restricted will underperform at Worlds? My gut is telling me Tropicals might underperform. We're going to look at these results to see if they reflect something like that. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. So we're going to start with the usage stats for the restricteds, then the usage stats for the overall Pokemon, and then we're going to go to the top 8 to see who top cut to see who performed the best. So looking at the usage here, Calyrex Shadow Rider, not super surprising to see it at number 1, because obviously this means that people still believe in it. I expected Calyrex Ice to be number 1, to be honest, but seeing Calyrex Shadow at number 1 is not super surprising. What is surprising is that it's at 29% compared to the next highest day 1 usage being Calyrex Ice at 15. That disparity, I don't know if it's ever existed for day 1 and day 2 or for day 1 usage for the top 2 restricteds. And if it did, it was just early in the format. But Calyrex Shadow Rider, people definitely lost faith in it and then gained some faith in it back, but it always was close to the pack in usage. It being at 29% is actually very interesting to me. What's more interesting is that while Calyrex Shadow sometimes does underperform, in this tournament, it had a 41% day 2 usage rate. So that means a large number of people who actually brought it, 16, if you can see it here, made it to day 2 with this Pokemon. So it had a very strong win rate. Calyrex Ice being in the top 3 is not surprising at all. It's just surprising that it's so far under Calyrex Shadow, but also a good win rate, 18%. So it converted really well. We call that a conversion rate. 15 to 18 is good. Not as good as expected, but good. Miraidon in top 3 is also not surprising. 14.5%. Not a bad number for it at all. 41 players brought it to day 1. 8 made day 2. So actually more players who made day 2 with Miraidon than they did with Calyrex Ice, that is very surprising. So I wonder if it's with Calyrex Ice, if people are figuring it out or if people are afraid that it's been figured out. What I mean by that is people may not be as aggressively using Calyrex Ice for one of 2 reasons. One, they think that people have figured it out because it just won NAIC. So they think that people are going to be building their teams to counter it. So they don't want to run into that, right? They don't want to give themselves harder work. Or people have figured out some really good Cali Ice teams and they're not bringing it, and they don't want to expose it. So we'll find out come Worlds which one it is. Kyogre being 4th is very surprising. I was not expecting it to be 4th. I just knew that Tropicals would be in the top 4 of day 1 usage at least. That is shocking to me that Kyogre, I don't know if Kyogre's ever been this high. If it has, let me know in the comments if I'm forgetting something. Maybe I said it in a previous video, but I totally expected Tropicals to be 4th and then maybe Zamazenta to be 5th, right? Because Zamazenta has been it's a pretty consistent Pokemon, even though people have figured it out a little bit as well. Kyogre also did pretty well, right? 13% in day 2, so 10 to 13 is a good goal. 11 to 13, pretty good conversion rate. Now Terrapagos, 1 falling down to 5 is already kind of interesting, a little bit disappointing for it, right? Because 8% usage for day 1. And then 0% in day 2. So out of 22 players, not a single person who used Terrapagos made day 2. That's a bad sign for anyone who's been prepping Terrapagos going into World. I'm not sure. I will check we'll check the usage for the overall Pokemon to see what may have caused that, but that is actually staggering. Going to number 6, Tridon is at 5%, kind of about average to what I expected it to be. It converted at a 1-to-1, so I guess that's not disappointing for it. It's kind of just normal. Zamazenta dropping down to 7th and having less than 5% usage, and 13 people brought it and no one made day 2 with it is very staggering. That's also very worrying for people. I wonder if they have anything to do with each other, right? Because Zamazenta tends to have a good matchup into Terrapagos, and if Terrapagos is not doing well, Zamazenta probably is going to struggle, especially if Calyrex Shadow is going to be at 29%, because Cali Shadow kind of dominates Zamazenta and Zamazenta dominates Terrapagos, right? So if this one's not doing well, and this usually does well into this, which is kind of interesting, but this one's going to suffer. Zacian had 1 in day 2, so more than Zamazenta, and 4% usage on day 1, so 2 less than Zamazenta on day 1. 1 person who Zacian made day 2. Lunala and Groudon, both under 4% and 0 day 2 usage. So actually, now that I'm looking at it, right, with 1, 2, 3, 4 Pokemon only having no day 2 usage, and then the Zacian having 1 and the Koraidon having only 2. So all of day 2 was majority Calyrex Shadow, Calyrex Ice, Miraidon, and Kyogre. That's very, very interesting. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. We're going to go down into the overall usage now. So let's check that out. So now we're at the overall usage, which is basically all the Pokemon that were used in the tournament. Ensign, well, not just say Ensign, Urshifu, Rillaboom, Ensign, top 3, always going to be top 3, not surprising there. A little bit surprised that Urshifu's 1, usually Ensign's 1, and like Rillaboom is kind of 3rd, right behind Urshifu, but they both overtake Ensign, which is kind of surprising. But realistically, with 51, 51, 47, we're kind of just splitting hairs, so they're still going to be in the top 3. But that is something to note, I think, right? Because like I said, Ensign is usually number 1, and Urshifu is usually like behind it in number 2, and Rillaboom is usually 3. So there's got to be a reason that it picked up a little bit. Also, all 3 converted great. 51 to 62 is outstanding. 51 to 54 is good. 47 to 49 is good. Raging Bolt rounds out the top 4. Sometimes it's up here, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it drops down because people choose other things. But I think it makes sense that it's in the top 4, especially because when you have these big international tournaments, they tend to use the best stuff, right? Like, and you look at like regionals, most people still use the best stuff, but there are a lot more players who are not there for necessarily like the win. So they don't always bring like the best stuff. They bring the stuff they know, but they might not bring like a Raging Bolt. But a tournament like this, this high level of magnitude, I expect Raging Bolt to be in like top 5 usage all the time. I was surprised it never hit number 1, but it's always going to be top 5. It converts well. 32 to 38 is a great percentage. It like rounds out this really hyper balanced kind of core. Hyper balanced just meaning super duper balanced. See, that's all, nothing special, not a new archetype or anything. Calyrex Shadow here is 5th, but we already went over the restricted. Frigiraffe being 6th is unsurprising just because right now there's so much priority in the format, right? So think about it. There's Fake Out, there's Fake Out, there's Fake Out, there's Prankster Taunt, there's Thunder Wave, there's like Parting Shot if you run it on Grimmsnarl. Look at this side. There's Fake Out, there's Prankster Taunt, there's Encore, right? So like there's just so many ways that priority can get you. There's Sucker Punch, there's Sucker Punch, there's Aqua Jet, there's Grassy Glide. Like there's so much, there's Thunderclap, like there's so much priority in the format that it just makes sense to have priority block on your team to do well. I think just having a Frigiraffe for your team shuts down so many threats at the same time that it's just always going to be worth it to have. I'm actually surprised that it's not like a little bit higher, but 20%, 57 people using it, and the 23% conversion rate is still really, really nice for the Pokemon. Iron Hand's resurgence continues. Top 10 for this tournament, top 6 of Pokemon that's not restricted, as the 7th place, but the Calyrex Shadow was up here. 19% used to 54 people, 9 made day 2 with it, 23%, which is really, really nice. Amoonguss is Mr. Consistent. He's always going to be there. So is Tornadus, because while Bleakwind Storm is a stupid move, Prankster Tailwind is one of the most broken mechanics they've ever invented. While I think it should work that way, I do admit that it is a bit overpowered sometimes. Calyrex and Miraidon we went over. Grimmsnarl picking up because screens are very, very strong in this format where the damage output is so high. And Prankster Thunderwave is also very broken. Not as bad, I guess, as Prankster Tailwind because you can block it with priority stuff and like dark types are immune. But yeah, it's still very, very stupid. I don't like being paralyzed. PokeMaine way down here is a bit shocking. Surprised that it's not higher, but I guess like with all the other ways to deal damage, it kind of makes more sense to fill out your team with Pokemon that can take more hits. So I kind of understand that PokeMaine is not as high up here. Ogerpon is a little bit higher than I thought it would be. At least this version, because this version is very, very offensive versus like the water one, which is a bit more defensive. But I guess when Urshifu is doing so well, people tend to use it over the water pond. Maybe at Worlds people use the water pond more because they'll recognize that Urshifu is such a threat. But even then, it doesn't really stop Ursh, right? Because Scarf U-turn is so strong. So we'll see how that goes. Chi-Yu making a bit of a comeback in the usage stats here. 12% on day 1, 18% for day 2 with a great conversion. We have Pelipper and Blood Moon. Blood Moon tends to go up and down depending on how much Trick Room the format allows. You see it didn't convert very well at all. It went from like 11% day 1 to 5% day 2 because maybe Trick Room just wasn't necessarily the call for this matchup for this tournament. Which is also surprising because usually Blood Moon does well into stuff like Calyrex Shadow. So we'll see what how that trend looks going into Worlds. Pelipper is always going to have good usage, but I'm actually very surprised that 33 people brought it and only 3 made day 2. That's actually pretty shocking. I wonder if that has to do with like the number of Calyrex Pelipper teams that were there. I wonder, it might have something to do with that. I wouldn't be surprised if all the Pelippers that made it with Calyrex. Smeargle is annoying. Chimpao. Yeah, so the rest of this usage here is not as important because like Volcarona is probably not going to be a super heavy presence. Yeah, 17 to 1. Lando Y 16 to 0 is pretty insane. Mienshao 14-5 is not great for Mienshao, but 14 people bringing Mienshao is, I think, something that's noteworthy, just because that's a Pokemon that really covers for Calyrex Shadow really well. So we'll see how that goes into the next format. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the top 16 teams. So the tournament itself was won by Federico Camperezzi. And his team was Ogerpon, Cornerstone, Rock, Calyrex Ice, Raging Bolt, Rillaboom, Frigiraffe, Urshifu. So he had no Insane on his team. Instead, he went with Rillaboom as Fake Out user. He went to the priority blocking here. He went with the Sash Urshifu, not the Scarf Urshifu. The Raging Bolt with booster energy for some boosted attack damage, boosted special attack damage to be specific. Ivy Cudgel, Hornleech, Follow Me, Spiky Shield. So the team is very well constructed. Not a team that's like surprising to see. Very, very standard in that sense. But it looks like he didn't really go for any speed control except for the Trick Room option. But doesn't really need it, right? Because he does have 3 Pokemon that came for priority. Calyrex Ice doesn't need to be in Trick Room to do well. And with redirection, you can kind of still play your game, right? You don't really need the speed control if you can control where your opponent is hitting. So Frigiraffe blocking priority, Ogerpon moving hits around however it likes and blocking spores, having a spore immunity right here. So having the burn type immunity, I think you're in a really, really good position to kind of just play your way through games. Federico's a really great player. So I'm not surprised that he had this looks like a very player diff heavy team. So he took a team that he knows gave him all the tools he needed to win. He didn't it doesn't seem like he built this with any specific like opposing team in mind. It's like he wanted to give himself the best tools to win, and that's exactly what he did, and I kind of respect it. All right, so second place was Marlax Enriquez. Calgary usually has a really good matchup into the Calyrex Ice team, but like I said, Federico's just a great player. So we went with the Calgary team. Calgary came second place in the tournament, which is a bit surprising, right? Especially with like 3 Miraidons in top 8. We'll get to the rest of that in a second, but like the Electabuzz is really, really cool as usual. Violet Buzz instead of Sash, so he went for a bulkier set. Faint Thunder, Follow Me, Protect. Thunder makes sense with the rain up. He went with Scarf Ogre, who people were probably not ready for Scarf Ogre and Terraflying Tornadus. I was wondering when people were going to start using like the Bleak Wind damage as an actual damaging move and not just like, just like chip. Terraflying means he went max with the Sash and the Scarf Ogre. So sometimes he probably was just clicking the button, just water spouting, no Tailwind, Bleak Wind Storm. Or just like setting them both up and just doing as much damage as he could. And then like you get damage down, but you lose so many resources, and then he brings like the Archaludon in. Electro Shot, Draco Meteor, Steel Beam. Oh my gosh. He went so offensive. This team is so offensive. It's so offensive. That's actually insane. Terra Ground, High Horsepower. Yeah, Terra Ice, Triple Axle. This team is so offensive, and I respect the heck out of that. He just ran into a buzzsaw in Federico. I respect the USA. Shout out to Marlux for that awesome team. The next 3 teams are all Miraidon teams, all with different like kind of modes, right? So this Miraidon team has Tornadus, the Tailwind setter. This one has Whimsicott. This one does not have Tailwind at all, but it does have Trick Room. All 3 ran Iron Hands, which is not surprising. All 3 also ran Frigiraffe. So like I mentioned with the Miraidon, Frigiraffe hands and just tend to work really well together. One, because the Frigiraffe stops you from being able to, because it's usually specs, right? Are you specs on this? That's choice specs. Are you specs on this? That's choice specs. And are you specs on this? That's choice specs. So whenever you are unable to protect because you're using choice specs to maximize the damage output, having priority blocking so they can't fake you out is really nice. Also having Tailwind is nice, so they can't just always outspeed you with their own Tailwind. But Miraidon can take hits, so I guess it's not the end of the world that this person here, Frederick, did not have a Tailwind in his team. He had other forms of speed control. Like I said, he had a Trick Room, he had the Blood Moon Ursaluna for speed. The Grimmsnarl also had Thunder Wave, so that was another form of speed control that he could use. Iron Hands is Terra Bug. Why would he use Terra Bug? Oh, Ground Resist. Ground Resist that isn't grass, and also isn't weak. But they're both weak to fire, both weak to flying. Interesting. I wonder. I wish I could know why he chose Bug. What else does Bug resist? Yeah, that's interesting. But anyhow, so each team ran a fire, different fire type: Chi-Yu, Entei, Hearth, and Mogopon. And 2 of them ran Urshifu. Let's see if they're both Urshifu Water, which I would anticipate. This is Banded Urshifu Water, which is kind of insane. It does so much damage. This is Urshifu Dark with Stellar Terra. So they both went very offensive Urshifu, and this one went without. So yeah, that's the top 5 teams. Number 6 was Cali Shadow Balance with the Moongus and Raging Bolt. Very standard. Person did very well. Obviously 8 and 2 in the tournament. V Nicole, Robbie went with the Venusaur Torkoal, aka the Venusaur Koraidon team. I'm also went with the Trick Room mode, right? So like this is actually a really well built team. Let's see if there's a Scarf Chi one here, a Sash Chi, which I think makes sense too. So Covert Cloak Sleep Powder is actually really nice because you can't fake it out, so you gotta just let it sleep whatever it wants to sleep and just hope it lands. Terrifier is a standard set. Flame Charge, Collision Course, Flare Blitz. Flame Charge for the speed control, so you get more speed. Venusaur's already very, very fast with the Chlorophyll ability. Chi just does insane damage in Sun, so that's very, very offensive core on that side. And then on this side, you have like the slower, bulkier mons, right? Your Arceluna's pretty bulky. Porygon 2 is pretty bulky. Radiant Bolt's pretty bulky. Honestly, you can make Venusaur and Koraidon pretty bulky depending on how you want to train them. This is a team, while Robbie did not win the tournament, he did come top 8, and this is something I would keep an eye on. I feel like if people were watching this, were looking at these teams, obviously this one stands out the most, but I think it might be overlooked by most trainers. Like most people going in tournament are going to see these Miraidons and Calyrex teams, and they're going to prepare for like the Kyogres and stuff. Something like this could definitely make a run at Worlds because people would overlook it, but it's very strong competition. Like I said, having both forms of speed control, like for example, you don't know if he's going to lead the Porygon and the Venusaur and go like sleep, Trick Room, or switch in or do what, right? You don't know if he's going to just lead Koraidon, Venusaur, bring Chi-Yu, and then Raging Bolt, go with the full Sun mode. You don't know if he's going to go with like Ursaluna in the front. Like, this team is very hard to game plan into, at least on first glance, in my opinion. So shout out to Robbie. This is really cool. This is something I think I'm going to steal and try it out myself because that looks really, really fun. We had 3 Japanese players in the top 8, which is unsurprising. They always do well at big tournaments like this. Very standard Rain Team: Tailwind, Kyogre, Grass type, probably Water Urshifu, Furdraft to block Thunderclaps and Sucker Punches, and Goldengo Steel type and Drain. Very, very standard player diff kind of team. Just, you know, Jeonsung Lee also went with a very similar kind of team, just no Tailwind. So more of like a Kyogre like balance kind of team. Shohei Kimura, the last year's world champion, 9-1. Let's see. So he probably had a higher seed and then lost in the top cut, which makes sense. He went with a very standard team here. I really doubt this is probably what he's bringing to World. Probably just to get some rushed off. I don't know how much Pokemon people have been playing lately with no tournaments besides this one, and then Worlds is being in August. But just went with Calyrex, kind of like balance offense kind of team. Clefairy, bulky, Mienshao, very, very standard kind of team here. Just with the Ogerpon Fire over like an Instant. Look at the team below it. It has an Instant over the Ogerpon. Pretty much the same concept, except the last 2 are different. So it's more like a hyper offense that team, I'd say. Tailwind, Surging Strikes, Astro Barrage. Oh, Terra Stella is really fun. That's actually really fun on the Urshifu. Let's see, Ramadan top 16. We have another Kyogre team, very standard kind of balanced Kyogre core. This is the most annoying team in the format for sure. I hate this team the most, and I'm a Calyrex Ice fan. I love Calyrex Ice. I despise this team. Without looking at it, it's like Decorate, Spore, Fake Out, a 4th. It's Follow Me, Faint. It's Coaching, Scarf, Gambit, Trick Room stuff. Let's go take a look at the actual team, see how right I am. It's Fake Out, Decorate, Follow Me, Spore, like I thought. It's Follow Me, Faint, Volt Switch, Taunt, like I thought. Close Combat, Final Gambit, Coaching, Shadow Claw, Choice Scarf, like I thought. This team is the trickiest to play against as an opponent, but it's like if you're using it, you kind of just control everything. So it's very, very annoying to play against. I despise the team, maybe because I just don't like having to guess whether or not the ape is going to go for Coaching or going to go for Gambit. Final Gambit team is very, very annoying because let's say you just protect, right, to avoid the Gambit or see where they're going to try to Final Gambit into. They click Coaching and then you protect it, so now you did no damage to this thing or this thing, right? So now you get another Coaching up and the game is instantly over on turn 1, and I absolutely despise it. Calyrex Shadow Balance. We have a Miraidon balance with Suicune as the Tailwind setter. Tailwind Suicune, Snarl Helping Hand. You know what, that makes sense because with Snarl you can get burns, with Snarl you can get special attack drops, and with Scald you can get burns, so you can mitigate a lot of damage. Terra Normal will kind of just stop Calyrex Shadow when it's tracks, and you can just snarl it. So yeah, the team makes sense conceptually. This person just wanted to use Suicune over like Tornadus or something. And then another like Calyrex balance team with Smeargle, the most annoying Pokemon ever created. Anyhow, that's a tournament. What in this tournament may have surprised you? What did you see that you kind of expected or did not expect? Question of the day: which powerful restricted will underperform at Worlds? Just looking at this chart, man, I really think it's going to be Tropicals. Unless people are hiding their real Tropicals tech, I just don't anticipate that Pokemon doing that well at Worlds. Maybe I'll be wrong. We'll find out. Otherwise, thank you guys for being here. I'll probably do another Rayquaza weekly video because on the poll that you guys voted on, you guys said yes to it. So I'll probably do another one of those. Also want to do some Dialga stuff, so hopefully I can get that team built. I'll figure out which one I want to do first. Probably Raid and probably Dialga, and then I'll probably see about stealing some of these teams here. Otherwise, thank you guys for being here. Question of the day. Leave a like for your boy. Subscribe if you're new. Feel free to become a member. You get a cool Goldango badge next to your name in the comments and stuff. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.